welcome to Spawn Point, the show for gamers by gamers. I'm Rad.
I'm Barjo.
I'm Goose. And I am Darren.
Today on the show, we're gonna wrangle some slime, which is not an easy task, in Slime Rancher.
Plus, we assemble a crack team of mercenaries from the Mushroom Kingdom in Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle.
Awesome games this week. Also, I catch up with the young Aussie dev behind Sonic Mania. You could say he's true blue. Because Sonic's blue.
And he's Australian.
Yeah.
I just want to make a fun game, so if people have fun with Sonic, that's all that matters.
Now, why don't we all warm up with a brain test? It's time for Darren's Challenge! Today, I've got another game sound for you to identify.
All right, Darren.
Oh, can we hear that again, Darren?
Affirmative.
It's definitely a Pokemon.
Ah, but which Pokemon, Barjo? Answer at the end of the show.
Is it from Sun and Moon?
Oh, no more clues. Let's get to our first review.
Hey there, Rad. Have you ever wanted to spend your life on a farm raising our blobby slimes?
I can't think of nothing better.
Well, then Slime Ranch is the game for you.
Yeehaw! And ain't these slimes adorable?
Oh, doggy!
Rawhide.
Yeah, but wait, we should explain what ranching actually is.
Indeed, Rad. Ranching is the practice of raising and farming herds of animals on large tracts of land. And in Slime Rancher, you'll be doing a lot of ranching, upgrading, farming, and collecting of food and different slime types to grow and diversify your farm. It's a long journey to a functional, efficient slime farm.
And a fun one, Darren. When you begin, you get your first corral and chicken coop. Then you head out into the land to find your first slimes and suck them up.
Oh, guys, I love the slime vacuum. It's so satisfying sucking up all the slimes and then depositing them in your ranch. In fact, everything you do in Slime Rancher is satisfying and rewarding.
There are lots of slimes to find too. Pink slimes are abundant and easy to manage. You'll also find bouncy tabby slimes, Sonic roller rock slimes, luminescent slimes that only come out at night and are susceptible to sunlight, and explodey slimes.
Oh, you have to really watch out for them, and for feral slimes who really go after you.
But getting the slimes is a small part of this game. It's what you do next that counts. Once you have a selection of slimes in your corrals, it's your job to keep them safe and well-fed. A well-fed slime will poop out what is known as a plort.
Poopy plorts are the game's currency, and there's a very sophisticated poop economy too. The trick is to watch the prices and sell poopy plorts at the right time for maximum cash. Then spend that money on upgrades and expansions to your farm, such as the spooky cave for those light-sensitive slimes.
A good farmer will always crossbreed slimes by feeding them plorts of a different type. This will create a larger slime called a largo, which will provide 2 plorts of different types every time they're fed. Discover and feed them their favorite food, and they will provide twice as many plorts as normal. Then you're in the money, the ploops are sunny. Plop, 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 plop.
There's so many little mechanics to discover like that as well. In fact, we probably shouldn't go into them all in detail, so the spawnlings can discover them for themselves.
Yeah, that's half the fun, although we should warn them about the tar slimes.
Oh, they're so spooky.
Tar slimes form when a largo eats a plort not of its type. A farm can soon get out of control when tar slimes appear, as they spread very quickly.
Yeah, that happened to me a few times, Darren, until I realized that I was overcrowding my pen, so they were getting out and eating random plorts around the place.
Yes, a clean farm is an efficient farm, and I just love this gameplay loop. It's so rewarding doing a little bit of farming, then searching for new food or slimes, and returning to do some upgrades. And then doing it all again.
I love it too, Rad, and there's lots of loot chests and secrets to uncover as you wander about this world.
Once you have enough cash, you can also buy the lab. The lab gives you access to gadgets such as personal teleporters and even more production opportunities.
Ah, there's so much to build in the lab. Just when you think this game is over, there's something new to buy or upgrade. I still have so much to do in this game, and I'm totally happy about that. We actually looked at Slime Rancher ages ago on Spawn Point when it was still early in development, but now that it has been finished, I can happily recommend it to anybody. I'm giving it 4.5 out of 5 rubber chickens.
Oh, I agree, Barjo. I was super surprised by this and impressed by the smooth progression through upgrades and exploration. I'm gonna give it 4.5 out of 5 rubber chickens.
Oh, doggy, that's a high score!
Rawhide.
Today, we meet someone who made a retro fan game so good, Sega asked him to be the lead developer on Sonic Mania. Oh, but I am running a bit late to meet him. I know. I'll go fast. Hi, Christian. Hi. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Just let me get my breath back. And why don't you tell me about what it's like being lead developer on Sonic Mania?
So, I mean, I originally was a massive Sonic fan back when I was a little boy, Mega Drive era. At the time, I wanted to learn how to make games, and so I was basically combined the two and started making my own Sonic games. Years later, mobile games started coming out, and then I started to think, I know how to make Sonic games. Why don't I approach Sega and make games on mobile? Maybe spent about a year convincing them that they should let me do their Sonic stuff. And then eventually they were like, yeah, why not?
What's your job day to day as lead developer of a Sonic game?
The main thing is I developed all the engine and tools to run the game on. I also oversee how our level designers and artists kind of work with the tools to implement all the various stage design, the enemies and gimmicks.
And this new game is very much in the style of the old games. Tell me, why are you doing it in this older style?
Just looking at the Sonic community, there was a big section of people that liked the original Mega Drive Sonic games, and they'd love to have a game that takes those gameplay mechanics and brings it onto modern systems. We basically went through all the original games and kind of got a sense of what style they had for their level design, because each game was sort of different in terms of how they progressed. Sonic 1, the first zone was quite fast, but then a lot of their other zones were kind of very methodical platforming. And you can see how by Sonic and Knuckles, they'd sort of evolved to emphasize building of tension with some platforming, but then a lot of high-speed sections to kind of give you the exhilaration of going around loops and corkscrews. And so we wanted to recapture that, but the mantra for Mania was also to kind of turn expectations on its head.
Tell us about when you were pitching this game and what that was like.
We presented, initially it was a smaller prototype of what would become Sonic Mania. And the head of Sonic team, Izuka-san, was there, and we played through the first zone, which would eventually become Studiopolis in Sonic Mania. They started writing on the whiteboard a whole bunch of levels and oh, we'd love to see these revisited in a larger game than we initially pitched. And so we were like, right, we better get to work.
What is it about Sonic that people love so much?
I think the characters themselves are very endearing and very expressive. So as a kid, it's very easy to gravitate towards that because Sonic is fun to watch. When I was playing, even just losing rings, even when I was getting hurt, it looked fun because rings were flying out everywhere. I didn't know what was going on. I was like, oh, this is cool.
As a big Sonic fan, it's great to hear someone so passionate about Sonic because, the series has struggled a bit since those early great days. Are you nervous?
I just want to make a fun game. So if people have fun with Sonic, that's all that matters. And I think they will because we had a lot of fun making it, and I think that sort of energy has made it into the game.
Serious question, do you think Sonic can go too fast?
Well, in Sonic 3, there was a line in the manual where it said, don't fall into Robotnik's traps. And an interesting bit of developer trivia is that was actually because Sonic could literally go too fast, and in some cases in the game, go through the geometry in the stage. And so they had to tell people, don't go too fast because Sonic will run through the stage, like literally run through a wall.
That's amazing. It was such a pleasure talking with a fellow Sonic fan today, Christian, but I'm running late for studio.
You better go fast.
Oh, you're right. I went too fast. Oh. I'm just gonna go slow.
Okay, it is question answering time, and first cab off the rank this week is the Ender Dragon King from the End in Queensland.
I don't know, the End was in Queensland?
Well, it's the end of Australia when you're going
Yeah,
upwards.
makes sense.
Dear GGSP, I have 2 questions for you. 1. For games like Moss, are VR headsets required? 2. I really like planes, so do you have any good flying games on Xbox One or PC? P.S. You must answer these questions, or I will summon all of the Ender Dragons against you! P.P.S. Goose, do these.
Why don't you get Goose on the phone there, Rad?
Thanks, Goose.
Well, your Ender Dragon Highness, for most VR games, yes, you will need a VR headset.
But that's not a hard and fast rule by any means. Quite a few VR games can actually be played on a normal standard screen with a normal controller. Games like Thumper and Res Infinite, for example, can be played either in VR or not.
It's usually pretty clear on game boxes or in the online store if you need a headset, with a giant PlayStation VR required banner plastered on the game if you need one. If there's no banner, then you're good to go without a VR headset.
As for Moss specifically, that will require a headset and is exclusive to PlayStation VR too, so don't go buying any of those other VR headsets and expect to be able to play it on those.
Indeed, Rad. As for good flying games on Xbox One and PC, well, there's a few options. On Xbox One, your options are a little limited. Probably the only real one available is Kerbal Space Program. It's obviously more geared towards making spacecraft, but there's a very robust plane building side to it as well.
It's a great game too, but it's super deep and can be very tricky. So if you want something a little bit more straightforward and shooty bang bang, then Ace Combat 7 is coming out next year, and it looks like it will deliver some very pretty dogfighting action.
I like the Ace games. They're ace. There's also Blazing Angels, available now through backward compatibility. And of course, we talked a few weeks ago about Crimson Skies, which will be released as a backward compatible title later this year.
Meanwhile, on PC, there are too many to mention. Some of the best flight simulators we'd say are Microsoft Flight Sim Series, War Thunder, and IL-2 Sturmovik. There are loads of others available too. But now let's move on to this from Utab from somewhere in South Australia.
What's the easiest way to kill the wall of flesh in Terraria? Call it. Bling, 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 bling. Question, comma.
Ah, that pesky wall of flesh. Well, Udhav, we can definitely give you a few tips on how to beat it.
But before you do, just be aware that beating the wall of flesh will activate hard mode in your world, which among other things will increase prices in shops, add extra tough enemy types, and cause corruption or crimson to spread throughout your world.
So, before you kill the wall of flesh, make sure you're ready for hard mode. We'd suggest exploring a lot of the map first, build a nice quarantine zone around your base to stop corruption and crimson from spreading there, and of course, stocking up on any supplies you may need from shops while they're cheap.
But once you're ready to jump into hard mode, the most important thing to do to tackle the fleshy wall of doom is build an arena to fight in. Once you spawn the wall, it will constantly move from one side of the map to the other, pushing you back the whole way. So if you don't have a good platform to fight on, it's almost certainly going to push you into the lava.
Ooh. Yes, we'd suggest crafting about 500 or more pieces of wooden platforms and just making one huge bridge from one side of the map as far as you can go back with it. This will be very useful for getting around the underworld in general too.
Wood platforms are great since magic can shoot through them, but you can also use any blocks you have laying around if you want. Also, it can be helpful to place some campfires along the bridge to help regenerate health during the fight.
Once that's done, load up on health and mana potions, equip the best weapons and armor you have, and get ready to rumble! We'd suggest using the Demon Scythe and bow and arrows as great weapons for this fight, but anything with good range and damage will be okay too.
Now head to one side of your platform, chuck the voodoo doll in some lava to summon the wall of flesh, and just start doing damage by aiming either for the eyes or the mouth, and moving back while avoiding its attacks.
And of course, keep a close eye on your health, and pop a potion whenever you need one.
If you do all that, the wall should be fairly easy to defeat.
Well, good luck with it, Udhav. But let's move on now to is from Bailey in Rockhampton, Queensland. Hi, GGSP. I need the help of my mighty rowboat overlord, Darren, and his friend Gosses. My friend told me Kingdom Hearts 3 is coming to Xbox One, but my other friend says it's not. I'm confused. P.S. No! Badge bows allowed to Ausner. Well, Bailey, I'm pretty sure it is coming to Xbox One, but let me double check that with old rowboat overlord Darren for you.
Hello, Darren speaking.
Hey, Darren, how you doing, you old rowboat?
It's pronounced robot, and I'm fine, thank you. How can I help?
Well, we were just wondering if you could confirm or deny whether Kingdom Hearts 3 is coming out on Xbox One.
Well, Kingdom Hearts 3 is 100% confirmed to be coming out on both Xbox One and PS4.
Well, there you go, Bailey. Your friend may have actually incurred a noob cup penalty such as walking the plank. Would that be right, rowboat Darren?
It's robot, and I'm sure they were just mistaken.
Why do the spawnlings get off so easily while we are punished to the maximum extent of the noob law? Thanks anyway, Darren.
Oh, my pleasure. Goodbye.
Bye. Okay, well, let's keep this question train rolling and move on to this video question from Radin.
My name is Radin, and I've got a question for you. How come in Super Mario Run in the tour, in every level, there is a missing coin of either pink, purple, or black? And P.S. Rad, do this.
Well, thanks for your question there, Radin, but I don't think there's a storyline behind why the coins are there. They're purely there as a piece of game design to add challenge and replayability to the levels.
Yeah, the coins are placed in special tricky locations that force you to pull off special moves to get them. Then, once you've collected all the coins of one colour, the next set unlock and are placed in different spots, and they change the layout of the course a bit, giving you a new reason to go back into the level and hunt them down.
Other than that, they do unlock a few special buildings if you collect them, and they'll net you some bonus Toad Rally tickets too. But really, they're just a special objective to strive for, and a badge of honour if you can say you've collected them all.
Well, thanks again for your question, Radin, and we'll be in touch soon to send you your very own special Spawn Point shirt.
Nice.
If you'd like to get one of these babies, then grab a camera and send us a video by going here. But that's it for this week. Let's get out of here, boys.
Let's get out of here. Which way should we go, Rad? I'm gonna go down. I'm gonna take the elevator.
I'm gonna go up.
Boop.
These days, there's nothing new about seeing video game characters pop up in each other's worlds. In fact, many a gaming mascot get together now to compete in sports, have a friendly brawl, or for some reason always go go-karting.
But there is something particularly odd about the latest matchup of Mario's gang from the Mushroom Kingdom and those raving mad Rabbids in Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle.
Kingdom Battle is what's known as a turn-based combat strategy game, meaning you take it in turns to move your team around a gridded area, trying to create clear lines of sight to blast opponents into oblivion. You can see why I'm a fan already.
Guys, straight away this feels very un-Mario, helped in no small part by the absolutely insane storyline they've put together to explain all this. A young scientist and big-time Mario fan is close to completing a pair of goggles that can merge objects together with the help from her sidekick robot, Beebo. But when a gang of time-traveling Rabbids arrive and try on the headset, chaos ensues, sending everyone into the Mushroom Kingdom when they proceed to mess everything up before Mario and some cosplaying Rabbids show up to save the day by rescuing an adorably goggled Rabbid, whose name is, ready for this? Spawny.
Oh, he's so adorable, isn't he? Oh, he could be our new mascot. Sorry, Daz. But yeah, it is all just crazy, isn't it? Then again, nothing ever involving those Rabbids is ever straightforward. After everyone is finally introduced, you start out at Peach's castle, which acts as the hub world, and from here your trio of heroes can explore the many branching paths that are laid out as stages before you.
These paths will send you off into bright, colourful zones full of puzzles, familiar encounters, collectibles, and the occasional Rabbid stuck in a humorous situation or two. Oh, what are you doing, you silly Rabbid?
I like how these travel sections work to break up the battle arenas that you'll encounter along your adventure, as this is where the gameplay switches over from the relaxing free roaming to turn-based strategy and tactics.
Once the battle begins, you're given the option to switch between your heroes, move them around the grid, activate activate their abilities, and then fire on a target if you're within range. And you can do these actions in any order you like.
And it's important to think through every option because movement and placement play such a big part in the overall strategy of this game. Starting out, you're able to slide dash through enemies to do damage, along with team jumping to send you further around the map. But later on, you'll gain access to extra skills that can be combined together to maximize what you can do each turn, which you need to do if you want to stand a chance of defeating the multitude of wacky rabbit enemy types that you encounter each round.
Yeah, but how good are these enemies, Barjo? Not only are they totally ridiculous, but they each have their own unique combat styles and movesets that can really change the fights and keep you on your toes. Plus, there are some excellent boss battles that really require you to change the way you play in order to succeed. In fact, guys, when you step back and take a look at this unassuming, silly game as a whole, you realise there is a ton of rich strategy going on under the hood.
Oh, affirmative. Hunting down chests unlocks new weapons to equip, each with their own weird destructive stats for specific heroes. Orbs can be collected and spent on skill trees to gain extra abilities. Plus, you'll eventually add more heroes to your roster that you can choose to switch in and out of your team between fights. It's a bold tapestry of tactics to take in.
Fortunately, it's not all thrown at you at once. Instead, there's a nice difficulty curve that gradually introduces new elements into play. That's not to say I didn't find myself on the end of a few losing battles early on.
No!
Mamma mia!
Yeah, I know what you mean, but I'm also really glad this isn't a complete cakewalk either. Games like this are always so much more fun when you feel outnumbered or underpowered, because it really gets you thinking strategically. There's always so many ways to approach a fight, so no two battles ever feel quite the same.
Once you've completed a stage, you'll receive a rating based on how many heroes are still on their feet and the number of turns needed to finish. This earns you coins to spend on weapons and either a bronze, silver, or gold trophy. Completionists can even return to retry stages and go for a better rating, along with discovering new challenge stages that appear, mixing up the rules and allowing you to earn more orbs and coins. It's almost strange that we haven't seen Mario and his pals venture into this kind of territory before. Oh, speaking of strange, what did you both think of the overall strangeness of the game itself?
Well, you know, I have a bit of a love-hate relationship with Rabbids in general. On the one hand, they're really funny. On the other hand, they're really annoying. But this turned out to be a delightful mashup. In fact, I'll be sad if Rabbids don't turn up in more of Mario's adventures.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I had my doubts as well, but I think introducing these characters in such a different game type was the perfect idea. I will say I was hoping to see some more multiplayer options than just a co-op mode, and I did notice the occasional camera and frame rate problem, but these are just minor issues in an otherwise fantastic game.
Yes, Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle is an excellent strategy game in a fun setting with a great mix of characters. I'm giving it 4 out of 5 rubber chickens.
Guys, I'm such a Nintendo fanboy. I was really worried this could have been a complete mess, but it turns out it's just the right kind of mess. So I can see it sitting in my Switch for a long time, and I'm going to give it 4.5 out of 5 rubber chickens.
All right, Darren, we're ready for you to solve your Secret Sound challenge.
Oh, wonderful. Now, at the start of the show, I asked you to identify this Pokemon. And the answer is...
Voltorb?
Negative.
Munchlax.
Oh, negative. It's Charjabug.
I was just about to say Charjabug.
Oh, another awesome challenge, Darren. Next week on Spawn Point, we assemble some platforming particles in our review of Knack 2.
Plus, we go underground with Undertale on the PS4.
Well, until then, be nice.
Have fun.
And keep gaming. Goose out.
Rat out.
Barjo out.
Darren out.
Hey guys, if you were a Pokemon, what noise would you make?
I think I'd do a honk like a goose. What about you, Rad?
Blah, 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 blah. You, Barjo?
Barjo! Darren?
Oh, I'm super effective.